So basically what we want to do is talk about the things I wish I knew before I came to China this time in 2024. Things have changed a lot. Every few years, things change dramatically. I made this video to help you before you come to China. Think about the things you need to prepare for so it doesn't shock you and screw you up when you come. And the first thing you have to know is that basically cash is not king. Back when I first came to Shanghai back in 2010, 2011, cash was absolutely king. But even as recent as 2019 when I came, I encountered a situation in which I could not use cash whatsoever. I went into a coffee shop, I believe it was a Starbucks, and they said, no, we no longer accept cash. So that was quite surprising to me, of course, and scary. I didn't know what to do. So in other words, make sure you set up your cell phone with the payment apps. Kind of like Apple Pay, but much more developed. They have something called WeChat, as well as Alipay, 微信支付宝. And these basically link your identification with your bank accounts. And suffice it to say, we really don't have anything quite like these apps in the US market. With these two apps, you can do all kinds of different things, from renting bicycles to ordering cabs, sending money to people, and even paying your rent or mortgage. However, there's lots of overlap between the two apps. Most vendors will accept one or the other, so it's important to have both, bind them to your card, and familiarize yourself with their strengths. And I'll put a few links in the description with additional information regarding the apps, how to set them up, and what they're used for. In fact, before when I was here, right before COVID, I was not able to use the services. It had to be cash, which was a problem. But for me, WeChat wasn't able to be locked down. Only Alipay was able to be successfully done. I took my passport, I let them have a full three-dimensional scan of my entire face, uploaded my banking card, my information, and basically it links it. And then you can transact with much more efficiency anywhere you go. That is kind of scary at first, but if you think about it, we partially have been doing this more and more over time in the United States, right? We give bank cards out, we trust the internet with what it is, we trust the government to protect us in case something gets crazy, and this is what you see here. Vendors in China are still required to accept cash as part of a law mandated in 2018. Additionally, ATMs are pretty plentiful in most major cities. Though not every ATM worked for me, I found that the larger banks work best, like Agricultural Bank of China, ABC, HSBC, Citibank, and Scotiabank all worked fairly well. And again, cash is not preferred, but you never know when your battery is going to run out, or you don't have service, or you lose your phone, so it's good to have cash to make backup payments just in case. So that being said, you can use cash, they will accept cash, but having change is a problem. You might get scowled upon and judged. In other words, get your payment apps set up, know how to use them, and expect to deal with that moving forward. So if you're just visiting China, I wouldn't recommend bothering about a Chinese cell phone. Our cell phone companies often partner with Chinese ones. So look into your travel or your upgraded plan to make sure you have an upgraded data plan that will serve you in China. That is, no firewall. And if the answer is no, you have to ask yourself the following question. Do you need a VPN? And the answer is yes. Yes, you absolutely need a VPN. Whether it's uploading content, whether it's watching videos, or whether it's just simply accessing your email, Google, and friends on Facebook and Instagram. And in my experience here in 2 months, I had some problems because I relied on a Google search. You know, what's the best VPN for China? Lots of sponsored results. I tried a few of them. None of them worked at all. That being said, my advice to you, the best bet would be talk to someone who you know who is in China. Ask them what they use. I'm pretty sure it's going to be on the App Store. And I have more to say regarding some of the legislation surrounding VPNs, so be sure to stay till the end of the video when we discuss it further. Although you will certainly encounter people that are capable of speaking really good English, I wouldn't count on it for getting around China. I'd be sure to double down on some good translation software. WeChat has a nice built-in translation function. Press and hold, hit the translate, and there you have it. The second one is just Apple Translate. Super easy, it has built-in optical character recognition. You can take a picture, upload it, it'll translate it, or you can speak into it as well. And finally, Google Translate has a really good function of Google Conversation, but that's really only reliable if you have a VPN. And in terms of asking for directions, you don't really need to. Use Apple Maps. And if you don't have an Apple, that's okay. There's a plethora of other easy-to-access China maps that are absolutely exceptional. I've said this before in many videos, but transportation in Shanghai and Greater China, every city I've been to, is absolutely phenomenal. China has gotten to the point that it's cheap, it's high-tech, super easy to access. The only thing is, of course, you need your phone again. You scan to go on the subway. And I imagine most of your transportation will take place on the subways. But don't fear, they're wonderful, new, convenient, offering English on almost every stop and during announcements. And once you try China's subways, you'll forever be envious. You scan to go on the buses. You scan to pay cabs. And cabs are also a great way to get around. Didi actually merged with Uber back in 2016. And the app is actually incorporated into Alipay. So open it up, go to your taxis, and it's all in English, super convenient and cheaper than the US. Even renting bicycles requires your cell phone. And riding bikes in China is phenomenally fun, so make sure you do that when you're there. And of course, if you want to take high-speed rail or a plane, well, you go to Alipay. With it, you can easily navigate flights and or trains, you can look at schedules, you can purchase your ticket, and then your passport and your cell phone is really your ticket. If you register for an additional app, you can actually just scan your face to go through the subway, which some in America would say is scary, but it's just one more logical step of making things more efficient and easier on the end user, which is kind of what we all want, whether or not we say it. So in terms of lodging, many can be booked through Alipay or through TripAdvisor or similar travel sites. And there's a few different types of hotels. You have the Chinese brand type hotels. They are the cheapest. Going up from that, you have international hotels, which tend to be amazing in China and much cheaper than the United States. You can get 3-star hotels for $50 a night. You can get lots of 5-star hotels for under $100 a night. And while Airbnb is not in China, there are options like WeSee and ZeRoom, but this is not a simple situation. It requires you to basically have a trustee or very good friend in China to sign and pay for you, so it's probably not worth it for you for a quick visit. I think we hammered this before, but basically any brands or anything you need, you can find. So there's still small shops all over the streets offering particular goods ranging from cookware to stationery to even sewing items. Malls are plentiful and have every big brand you could possibly want, from Apple to Victoria's Secret to Haagen-Dazs to Five Guys. If you want to buy those fake jerseys, you want to buy those fake brands, fake markets do exist. They won't be advertised, but after doing some research on some American websites, they do exist. You can go, and if you don't know Chinese, you're going to be arguing with a calculator. So a lot of people ask me, man, aren't you worried about that constant state surveillance? Aren't you worried about them watching what you're doing? And in a sense, yes. I mean, think about the Patriot Act, what happened in the United States. We give up some of our sovereignty to privacy in the hopes and idea that we can have a safer nation, right? The idea is essentially that, hey, it's a huge populated country. How do we make sure everyone's acting good, cutting down on crime and reacting in a good way? And well, the answer is putting surveillance cameras absolutely everywhere. Hopefully you can see behind me on this lamppost, there's like 4 or 5 security cameras in every direction. And that's in every intersection, on every road, in the entirety of China. In between that, in AI technologies, basically if something bad were to happen to you, they can find you in like 45 minutes. That being said, it's really no different than the trust we have in the US government, right? Cameras can watch you on your phone, microphones can listen to what you say. To be honest, in China, I have no qualms. I felt exceptionally safe, no issues, no worrying about rape, killing, drugs, guns. I've had many conversations with people about the state of affairs in government here. No one really freaking out, no one really crying and worrying about state surveillance. So be prepared and be ready to accept that. That's just how it is. And another thing I wanted to bring up, religion tolerance in Shanghai and in China in the greater good. Of course, in the bigger cities, it's more tolerated. But from my understanding, what China really cares about is dissidents. I found multiple churches that do in fact allow outside people to partake, some of which are Chinese-based, some of which are actually international-based, which do require a passport to have. That being said, with China, there are laws and there are more gray laws, wherein if you're not causing problems, there won't be any problems. Officially, VPNs are not okay. Officially, VPNs are not a good thing. I've met people that work for state news agencies that use it. People that work and live in China for a long time, they certainly use it. There's no problem. So I would say generally, if you're not causing problem, rest easy on that front. So if you ever feel lonely in China and you don't know what to do, definitely check out some of the craft beer areas in where you're at. I guarantee you're gonna find people of like-mindedness that at least like beer. If liking beer is not enough, I don't know what is, guys. So definitely check those out. It'll help your travel endeavors and make you feel more like home, I promise you. I'm gonna put a link in the description talking about all the major topics I had. Now that you got all that squared away, you're gonna wanna figure out where to go and what to do. Check out some of the other travel videos I made on China regarding Beijing, Nanjing, Shanghai, and Xi'an. Otherwise, send me a direct message. I'd love to chat with you and reach out. Love you guys, and we'll see you guys soon. Bye. And thanks so much for joining me today. If you got some value, smash the like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.